Okay, so this is for Kai, but for everybody too if you want to see it. So what I'm going to do now is go over the angles of attack. We have 25 angles of attack in the Sandro LaCosta system. The way we do it is slightly different than my peers, okay? And I'll explain why. So the first strike is number one, but it doesn't mean it's in order that this would be the first strike you do. But number one is diagonal, and it could be right across the face, right across the eyebrow, getting the nose and getting the face. Because I want to create that trauma, right? And that's going to do a lot of damage. Or it could be aimed at the temple, ear, or collarbone. Those are all good areas to strike, depending on what you want to accomplish. Strike to number one across the face, you're tearing that person's face apart. You got to realize that. So you might want to just hit them in the neck and knock them out. But that's the diagonal strike, right? Number two is this opposite, polar opposite. So that's a diagonal strike, could be on any of those lines. 1, 2, 3, I want to hit him in the elbow or in the rib cage right below the bottom of the rib. There's a nerve there, and that'll put you on the ground. Okay? And this too, that's number 4, and it comes back. Number 5 is the straight thrust, as you know. It could be anywhere from the sternum to the navel. Number 6 is in the eyeball or in the neck, right? Number 7 is the other eyeball or the other side of the neck. Number 8 drops down. So once I do 7, that's 8, right? I drop down to the ground. This is why our number 9 is different than our peers, because I don't want to go 8 and bring the weapon up and go 9, 10. I'm going to go 8 and I'm going to go up 9 from the knee to the groin and from the knee to the groin. That's 9 and 10. 11 and 12 are from the knee to the ankle, from the knee to the ankle. So if I aim at his knee and he moves his leg, I'm going to hit his other ankle. If I aim at his knee and he moves his leg, I'm going to hit his groin on the other side. So that diagonal strike carries through and then comes down. From that strike, I flip the stick to a 13, and then I flip it back to a 14. That would be the flat edge of a blade. Okay, so that's the flat edge of the blade. 13, 14, okay? 15, I bring straight down. It's like number 8 is straight down, but it's backhand. So 15 is straight down a forehand, and it rocks all the way back. So 15 goes here and rocks all the way back. Okay? Once I complete that motion, 16 goes as a 1 and then changes lines to a 2. That's number 16. Number 17 goes up into the neck, and I turn my body out. So I'm now in the closed position. That's a flash strike. That's number 18, right? It's a flash hit. 18, snap back. 19, go with a long arcing number 2 and turn it into a number 1. Okay, that's teaching, because that could be turned into a number 3 or turned into a number 9. Anything that changes direction, but that's the start is a high 2 and it becomes a 1. Okay? Now 20 is in the armpit. You want to go right in the armpit, and particularly if that person is striking you, that's the strike here. Okay? If you struck me back and punched me, that's a strike there. This one comes across the body and goes under the rib cage, aiming at the lung. Going right up into the lung right there. Okay, that's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 is in the one side of the groin, and it cuts across and goes 25 to the other side of the groin. So that's our 25 strikes with the slight variation for the way Ricer Martial Arts does it as opposed to our friends, right? Not that it's right or better, it's just the way I chose to have you guys do that. So that's the angles of attack, which is a misnomer. That's really good angles of defense, and you want to learn that. When you're striking a person for real, number one is probably rarely going to be my first strike, because that's very easily seen and very easily defensed. So you don't want to have your opponent there with a weapon and be striking number one. He sees it and can deal with it. And if you're thinking blade, if he has a blade, now as I go to strike him, what's he going to do? He may cut my hand, he may cut me. So my initial strike is probably a deception. So I may go from that thrust and getting him to defend it and then cut across number two. I may go from that flip to that slash. Okay, so the numbering system isn't necessarily in order. It's just that's number one because that's where it starts. And it may well be the most common attack that you're going to receive. So that's why it's more along the lines of the defense. I'm learning to defend that angle. I'm learning to defend that angle. I'm learning to defend that angle. And yes, in the meantime, you're learning to use that angle, but you're not going to apply it the same way that you defend it. Because the way you defend it is purely for educational purposes. In reality, we're going to use a completely different mode of attack. So understand they are the angles of attack, but they're not used specifically in that way. And if you look at the precision striking, you're going to then come to the understanding. Okay?